Like so many other airlines, LATAM was heavily affected by the pandemic. One of the results of that was a rather substantial fleet restructuring. That also meant that it was simply not possible for Herpa to make any new LATAM Airlines models, because they didn't know which aircraft types would still be in service and which wouldn't. But now that LATAM, just like the rest of the industry, has resurfaced on the other side of the pandemic, well, it is possible to make new LATAM models again, and this is the very first in scale 500 we get, and we can take a closer look at that thanks to the great prices of the F&B shop. Do check them out, the link to them is in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 777-300ER of LATAM Brazil. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the LATAM branding. Now, Herpa's creativity clearly knows no limits, so also in 2024 we get this really absolutely beautiful box design when we look here at the back side of the box.
Are you stupid or something?
And if you can't hear my sarcasm here, well, that was it. And here she is, the Boeing 777-300ER in the current standard livery of LATAM. Now, LATAM obviously operates in various South American countries and of course also across the world with intercontinental flights, but this specific aircraft belongs to the Brazilian arm of the airline group. Now, the last time we got an aircraft of LATAM in scale 500 was an Airbus A350-900 released by Herpa and under the Hogan brand, so it's been quite a while since we've last had a LATAM aircraft model in scale 500. But now we have this 777 in front of us, which means we will take a closer look at it to see what it actually offers collectors. And we start off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the LATAM Airlines branding. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, as well as the aircraft type specification, and towards the very tail of the aircraft we find a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On top of the fuselage we find the addition of a set dome, and I guess the policy of Herpa now is just to add any kind of set dome, regardless of what the reality is, because this set dome is unfortunately massively oversized. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then find the very nice looking LATAM branding, and we also have a few small, well, sensors or hatches, which definitely gives the aircraft a little bit more life considering how predominantly white the livery is. If we then take a look around the cockpit section, we find the cockpit windows with the nice metallic edges, and we have the window wipers printed on, but for sure, some static boards or any kind of sensors here would definitely have elevated the aircraft model further. If we then take a quick glimpse over to the engine nacelles, we can see they have been kept in all white, no big surprise here, but we do have the silver leading edge printed on, as well as some safety markings, which is a little thing, but for sure is a lovely touch of detailing here. The physical detailing of the engines, well, they are looking good, but they are wrongly shaped. This is, however, an issue with all 777s of Herpa, so no specific thing for just this aircraft model. But when we look into the engines from the front, we can very nicely see the engine fan blades. On the fuselage, just above the wings, we can then find the emergency exit has been printed on, and that leads us straight to the wings themselves, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flaps, slats, and spoilers carved out very nicely. We have the markings for the emergency exits. We also have this thick black line, which is a visual indication for pilots as to where the outer edges of the landing gear is. The underside of the wings offers more physical detailing, and across the wings we have the full registration code printed on as well. And since we already briefly mentioned it, let's also take a quick look at the landing gear. This is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all their 777 aircraft in scale 500, and honestly speaking I think it's a good thing because it looks pretty nice. I don't have much to complain about, except for the fact that we don't have any printed details around the front landing gear. An odd detail that Herpa keeps adding to the aircraft models we can find on the belly of the aircraft, where we have a hole in the fuselage for a stand that is not included with this aircraft model, making it rather silly, but at least it doesn't destroy any printed details. But I think that's mainly because the printed detail we have on the belly is a little bit further up the fuselage in form of the LATAM branding. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 777-300ER in the current standard livery of LATAM from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? Let me start off by saying that I'm actually quite happy that Herpa has finally managed to get the license for LATAM again, and hopefully this won't be the last aircraft model we see with this livery. Hopefully we will also get some narrow bodies sometime in the future. That would be very lovely. But when it comes to this model specifically, I mean, the physical detailing's I think overall pretty good. The 777 mold of Herpa is solid. I only have two minor grievances when it comes to the physical detailing. One, well, is the shape of the engine nacelles. They are too squeezed, but this is a persisting issue with Herpa Wings affecting all 777s, but I don't understand why they still don't fix it. The other grievance I have is the sat dome. I like that they have added it, but compared to the sat dome of the real aircraft, it is really seriously oversized. And this is also something at the moment, it seems like they're just raffling the size of the sat domes they're adding to their models because it's pretty much never correct. Personally, I really like the LATAM livery, and the print quality of Herpa Wings is certainly also of a high quality, but of course the livery is predominantly white, so it really does show how few details Herpa really adds to the aircraft models, which is not benefiting the model overall. Still, I think this is ultimately a nice new addition to anyone who's collecting South American aircraft. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.